Hello, y'all. Southern draw for you. Welcome to Astrology Unplugged. I'm Rick DiClemente, and tonight's going to be a fun show, 382, because I got kind of worn out with all the heavy shows we've been doing for a while. And tonight is guessing people's sun signs. And I didn't write my blog, my blurb correctly. Most people took from the blurb that I wrote that I was going to associate it to body parts. And that's what I wrote, but it's not what I intended. I'm talking about all the different clues that I use to guess somebody's sun sign. And oftentimes it's right, but many times, more times it's wrong. I know when I met my wife years ago, she's very fiery, so I guess Aries, Leo, Sag. She said, no, no, no. So I stopped guessing
Mhm.
because of other constructs in the chart. T squares to a Mars will make you very Aryan. A bucket pattern to Neptune will make you very Piscean, although you have no planets in Pisces. So you can pick up these major attributes through many different ways, but still, I do think tonight will really help you to get some of these concepts in your mind. What does it mean? It means that you have to just study everything. Okay, I'm going to have to mute. Something's going on. Anyhow, as you just keep studying and keep studying and keep studying, you will start to pick up traits because each sign's a little weirder than the other one. I don't even know how to explain it. So we're going to start with Aries. Okay. Now, if you've read our book, The Exquisite Zodiac, there's a major theory in that book that the beginning of the zodiac is very much like the young baby. And it's not a matter of uh, maturity, it's a matter of their impression that you get from feeling their spirit. Now, if you've ever sat next to Aries people, they give off a very childlike innocence. Same with Taurus, many times the same with Gemini. The early signs in the zodiac give off a very youthful energy. Now, you'll find that Aries, even though that they are um, saddled at times with the possibility of being selfish, which it can be, it's really not that. It's really that they're absorbed with themselves. They're enamored with themselves. And there is a big difference between being enamored with yourself and being selfish. Now, some Aries people can be, but most of the time they're not. Most of the time, Aries are very pleasant. Most Aries men, if you're looking at a good looking, studly actor or some guy from Italy or Spain, most of them are very Aryan, that macho kind of strong nose, strong kind of character. That's a very Aries look. When Aries turns sideways, almost always you got a pronounced forehead or a pronounced nose. Um, as far as talking with them, they are sometimes aggressive and they want everything right now. That can be a clue. Another thing about Aries is when they have accidents, it always involves their head. Now, I'm giving you stuff from years of experience. I'm not making this up. Doesn't mean they're going to hurt your head every time they have an accident, but the propensity is very high. They are more prone than other signs are to head injuries. I've definitely noticed with Aries women, as they age, they stay very slim, very unusual. If you look at the whole body of the country, Aries women can stay very, very slim and athletic looking. As a matter of fact, the early signs of the zodiac will look younger than the rest of the zodiac, especially not so much Taurus, but especially Aries and Gemini. those two signs look very, very young for their age. Not much really else to say about Aries. They are impulsive, they want everything right now. That can be clues. They're restless. When you get to Taurus people, I don't know what it is. I guess I do know what it is. Everything's about the neck, the throat. Big shoulders, big throat, big neck measurements. They're just throaty. Their voices are throaty. They're deep voices. Um, if they do get cancer, uh, help them not to. If they do get it, oftentimes it is in the throat area or the voice box area. It is very common. So another thing about Taurus is they're really, really pleasant. Probably the most pleasant sign of all 12 in my estimation. When you're with them, it's take it easy, it's relax, get your drink, get your sandwich, and even if things are kind of hyper and stuff, they'll bring things down and settle things down very nicely. And they really want you to feel comfortable around them, and they're really, really good at it. So people really like being around Taurus. It's a very pleasant energy. Perhaps it's because it's co-ruled by Venus. I'm not sure why. I happen to think it's ruled by the Earth, but it certainly is co-ruled by Venus, a pleasant sign. Um, Tauruses are known for being stubborn, and what happens with them, they just cannot see another person's point of view. Not all of them, but a whole lot of them. So when I get a reading and a person has a Taurus parent, I say, was your parent kind of flexible, or was it all their viewpoint? A lot of them say it was all their viewpoint. And when you get that in a reading, it can be tough because you know that the native never got a lot of justification for their own point of view. So they had to therefore go look for it elsewhere. It all depends. The Taurus people can have these incredibly beautiful eyes like Audrey Hepburn. Okay, I'm trying to use good examples for you. Audrey Hepburn is an extreme example of a beautiful Taurus. But when you get that beautiful, usually Neptune's always involved. If it's otherworldly beauty, it's usually Neptune is trying to Venus. If it's otherworldly, where you think it's coming from? It's not coming from the Earth. It's not coming from Mars. It's coming from otherworldly. Neptune, very common. Now, things get more interesting as you go through the zodiac. Taurus people can be really, really pleasant. They don't like anything happening suddenly. They like to take their time with stuff. And usually, if something's big and fast and complicated, they don't want involved. They just don't like big, fast, complicated. They like things slow, nice and easy, smooth. Now, as you get to these other signs, they change so drastically, which is why I had to take a week off between each signs when I was writing this, because they're all so different. You get to Gemini now, third sign, and things are so different. They're usually small people, small hands, small fingers. Gemini rolls the hand all the way over to the other hand. And when they have injuries, it's usually to that part of the body. Gemini is known for changing the subject real fast, uh, hard to pin down on what they just said because they're on the next subject. their mind is moving really, really fast. They're just moving quickly, and they're uh, not wanting to be nailed down, because to them it's like death. They want to try what's on the other side of the fence. What's on the other side of the fence? They want to keep changing. And to them, one of the very strong keys is they will always use the word interesting in almost every sentence. Yeah, it's interesting. Boy, it's interesting. Well, why is it interesting? It's interesting. That's what they look for. They look for what's of interest. So none of these things are bad features. They're all just kind of exaggerations on how they are. Geminis will live a long time usually, noted for a very youthful body, very youthful and rather small in stature. Them and Virgos both are known for having high giggles. High giggles. And like, do you remember who's the guy from the who's the guy from the talk show situation comedy who ended up with Parkinson's?
Michael Fox.
Michael Fox. Do you remember Michael Fox before the illness got him? How youthful he seemed?
Mhm.
He seemed like a little boy. And you see sporting events, and they'll say, "Boy, the guy in lane two looks like he just came out of grade school." Those are Gemini traits. They just look young. It's not always the case. See, Susan, you'll get in trouble because you're going to always look for firm, fixed rules, and you're not going to find them. But when you start looking for general trends, you'll start to see this. So they can really get to be older and be very youthful. Now, Liza doesn't agree with me on this one, but it's okay. Gemini men are very different than Gemini women, in my opinion. Okay. Gemini men are usually, almost all my friends are Gemini men. They're very young spirited. They laugh a lot. They like to go do things. They have a lot of fun. They let things roll off their back. Not the Gemini females.
Mm-mm.
You think about a lot of the Gemini females you know, and they can be that way, but usually they have a much sharper mouth. They can have a very sharp mouth if you're not careful. And the sharp mouth almost always comes about because of one reason, because they think that they need to change their stance, and they think that you're bugging them about the stance that you took. Why did you change that stance? Well, the whole point is with Gemini, they're not made they're not made to keep their stance. They're not made to take a stance. They're made to change it. So they feel a kind of hyper guilty when somebody starts to point out, "Well, you changed your stance," and what they'll do then is they'll attack. They will attack. Okay, and they will embarrass you in front of people. The more the merrier. They will embarrass you in front of the crowd. One of the other thing is really common, and I don't notice so much with the men a little bit. They will objectify you in front of other people. Oh, look at the boy, he's crying. Oh, you've made him sad. Look at the boy, the boy. I've got some friends that never, they've got two wonderful kids, but they never call their son their son. They always call him the boy. And I keep my mouth shut. They do it lovingly. That's a very common trait. Now, as we get through the zodiac, the soul starts looking older. It gets harder to define, and you have to look for other themes. One of the themes I noticed today, or it was yesterday, I was talking to a Gemini. No, it was last week on the show. And she said, Well, I watch at least 1 hour of news per day. Nothing too deep. Nothing too deep. So she said, that's her little safeguard. Okay, they don't want to go too deep because they feel club, 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 club.
Mm.
But they learn by not going deep. They learn by going over into a lot of different yards, and then they start putting it all together, and it's pretty awesome what they can do. Cancer. Cancer has an old quality to it. That's why it's associated so much with Capricorn opposites. It has a um, old worrisome look about it that's very common. Now, of course, not all of them. Depends on their moon sign, depends on their rising sign. Cancers are very, very sensitive. Cancers are very easy to tell when I walk in a room because I can pick out the cancer right away because they really look like to me that they're only concerned about themselves. Now, I don't mean that in a selfish way. I don't. I mean it, they're so impressed with this charge to take care of themselves. They're so ramped up and I got to take care of me that their thoughts just keep going around. Is this going to work for me? What's in it for me? What's in that for me? Well, how am I going to do that for me? What's going to happen to me? And it can become really annoying and really selfish and very even destructive to a family. But that's not the point of this discussion. It's their nature is to make sure that they're okay. Your signs are not like this. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. But you can usually sense it just by that. I've got to take care of myself. There's a strong affinity towards the mom and dad and the family, a strong affinity to all family traditions. Um, Usually as they grow older, they look older than their years. Usually. Cancer is not an easy sign. It's not an easy sign to guess. Now, moving to Leo, Leo really sticks out. Okay. Big, beautiful eyes. Natalie Wood eyes. Great big white all the way around. Beautiful, knock your socks off eyes. Those are Leo traits. Big hair, either from big, 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 or even if it's smaller, it's made to puff out somewhat. Round faces, almost always a very round face. Even somebody with Leo rising or Leo moon. Round face almost always gives it away. Um, I guess sometimes you could say with the males, it's a hairy chest. It's called hirsute. With the Scorpio man the same way. Um, Leo traits are they don't create don't Leo and Virgos both. Those are the two signs that don't take criticism well. They're just not made to be criticized because they're very sensitive to it, and the Virgos are busy criticizing themselves anyway. Um, Leos are very proud, and you'll notice with that body language with Barack Obama, who would keep that head tilted high in the middle of some heavy situations. He keep that head lifted, and to many people, they thought it was arrogance, but it wasn't arrogance. It was keeping his head up, taking a high road. It's a very leonine feature. Very commonly, I don't know about the women, but the Leo men can have very big chests, a big shoulder area all through here, just a tough, stocky kind of strength to them. Now, Is some of this sinking in?
Yes.
I'm getting I'm getting a little wiggle. Okay. Okay. But when you see not the guys so much, when you see a woman who knocks you out with her eyes, their Leo eyes.
Mm.
And what I mean by that, and I've studied them, I must really look stupid going up to people and studying them, but they have white entirely around the pupil. Not everybody does.
What about Betty Davis?
She's got Betty Davis eyes.
Eyes, yeah.
She's an Aries. She was an Aries. I don't know what her rising sign was, but my best offer to you is definitely Natalie Wood, and you see some actresses that just blow your socks off by looking at their beautiful eyes, just the Leo trait.
How
Now
did you
again,
describe that feature around the eyes again?
it's very
White.
white all around the iris. And most people don't have white all the way around. The
Oh,
the
so
iris
their eyes kind of pop so that you
that's
see the
right.
whole
That's right.
iris.
And the iris, most people, the iris will run into the bottom lid
Right.
when you're looking at it. But study your friends, take a look. And if they're not the sun sign, they commonly are a T square to the sun, or Leo is rising, or Leo is the moon. That's about all I gotta say. I'll probably jump back and forth a little bit because I'm trying to go straight through the zodiac. The Virgos. Here's a fun sign. Okay, Virgos, very small hands usually. I don't know if that's true for the men, but it's definitely true for the women. They have smaller features, almost always small bosom. Small bosom is Gemini and Leo. Almost always.
Leo or Virgo?
Virgo.
Virgo, Virgos and Geminis.
Yeah, Virgo.
Small breasted, small bosom are Gemini and Virgo, almost always, unless something really unusual in the chart that's changing that. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you, Cancer is the opposite. Cancer is more well endowed, or people with very strong moons. If you're a strong lunar thing to be well endowed. The sign before and after, the opposite. Those things I wanted to make sure I got out because those are really, really true, almost always. I'm not sure what your notes would look like right now, but I would pay a penny to see what you're writing on your paper.
Big boobs.
I did not say that.
I
Somebody,
know I did.
somebody said big boobs. Okay. So those things are
Are they
really,
big boobs or are they a big boob?
I think it's the former. You might ask Rick, why are you looking down there so often? It's just part of a male's nature. Okay, Virgo is very intriguing. Almost always, the Virgo women have beautiful complexion. Almost always, even into their 90s. Beautiful, pure complexion, baby 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. They have these pure complexions. It's almost enough to give it away. You're not see any aberrations on the skin. And that really correlates to the virgin and the purity that I told you that I associate Virgo with two key words. One is purity and one is caring. I, for whatever reason, I have not stared at the Virgo men to notice if their complexion was as smooth. It probably is, but I just haven't done the work to really find out. Virgos are always extraordinarily talented with their hands. workshop, piano, painting. They're just really, really good with their hands. And they're really good at teaching you how to be good with your hands. But they're really tremendous cabinetry makers. Cabinet makers. Really, really exceptional. Let's
My
see.
Virgo cousin was a very good drummer.
They're just awesome with their hands, boy. Look around, they're awesome with their hands. They're known for when you're around them that they're not verbally critical. They're just not going to say it. I made this movie about an 80-year-old man back in the 70s. He was a chairmaker. And I just pushed him just to see, after many, many weeks of shooting, would he criticize somebody? He would just not do it. He just wouldn't do it. Say the county has taken their bulldozer right up alongside your house and they're digging dirt. He'd go, mm, 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 mm. They just don't criticize. Now, I do think they criticize in their own way inwardly, but they don't do it outwardly. Virgos are known for being nice people. Virgo women are known for being commonly cooler emotionally. They're not the TLC moms and dads. They're more of the let's get your clothes washed, let's get your sandwiches made, let's get you ready for school. You need that shirt ironed, but they're not a TLC person to go to. That would be your cancers. So that's what I have found with Virgos. And there'll probably be some other things that will come around and hit me later. Libras are almost always very attractive. Even when they're not real attractive, they're still attractive. They've got a real charm about them. They're smooth. They're very tactful. They're probably, without a doubt, they're the smartest sign of the zodiac. Why? Because the other air sign is Gemini, and that's all about gathering data. The other air sign is Aquarius, which is all about mastering ideas. Libra is all about leading with ideas. Libras, because they take their social placement so seriously, they end up becoming very serious students about whatever they're going to study. Most of them will not end up working in a factory. Most of them will end up in the management above the factory. They're really tied up with being a social success. They always, and I mean 99.9%, marry somebody beautiful. 99.9%, they marry somebody that's very attractive. Look at Claudia's beautiful wives, says Erica. That's right. You get that right. That's how it works. Okay. Part of the reason Libras marry, they surround themselves with beauty is just, I just think it's just their nature. And if there's no beauty around them, they're just turned off. I think that's that simple. I will say without a doubt, from my observations, that Libra is the sign that's less affected by a divorce than the other signs. That doesn't mean they can't have a terrible divorce, they really could. But I've never seen a sign get over it as quickly as they do when they hop onto the next train. It's just unbelievable. Now, they're very attractive. Usually all their features are very smooth. Oh, I forgot to go back to Virgo. Virgo, and I forgot Leo too. The parts of the body. The Leo, since it's the center of the, since it's ruled by the sun, since the Leo is at the center of the solar system, it's ruled by the center of the body, which is the heart and the spine. Most Leo people you deal with throughout your lifetime, if they have difficulty, they'll have heart issues, they'll have spine issues. Not always, but it's something to watch for. With the Virgos are my number one. No, without a doubt, the reports I get of illness, and most of my readings are Virgo females, not Virgo males. But without a doubt, the number one illness in the zodiac are intestinal, colon, rectal, elimination areas in the body. With Virgos. And it took me a long time to figure out why. And I'm pretty certain that the why is because they hold on too much. They don't let go. They don't let the conveyor belt just go. To be fluid in your body, you have to let things go, let it flow, let it go. And the Virgo is more apt to stop the press. Something's wrong there. See that? Stop it. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Oh, stop it. Something's wrong there. And I have without a doubt dealt with so many Virgos on this issue. And without a doubt, when they start to get better at letting things go, all their colitis and things all disappear. They get much, much better. So it's a tough issue because it's not an easy illness to combat.
Rick, because that starts in the gut, I would also say I've noticed the stomach being sensitive with acid reflux with the Virgo.
Oh, I don't doubt that one bit, and that the gut is a cancer thing, but I do think you're correct that
I think it's the Mercury thing of Virgo that does it, not the rulership of the stomach.
that makes a lot of sense, and I would go as far as to say it's a Cancer / Leo type of thing. But yeah, the stomach can be really rough on Virgos. As a matter of fact, when I ask Virgos, I would say 4 out of 6 Virgos that I ask, they'll say, yeah, they have trouble with it. They have to struggle with it. Okay, moving on. With the Libras, marrying people beautiful, living somewhere very nice, having a nice job, being very successful, much more competitive than you would ever think. I counted everybody in the Major League Baseball one year. I counted every player in the whole league, and the most prevalent was Libras. Does that mean you're better baseball players? Ichiro? I don't know. To me, it means you're very competitive. Very competitive. Not like Aries in your face, not like some other signs, but they want to win because they want to be in the high rise. They want to be in the penthouse. You know, you couldn't believe how many Libras have been super successful in government. Okay, moving on. Now we get to Scorpio. And when you want to think about Libra and Scorpio together, you just think of the face of Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly is the face of mixing Libra and Scorpio together. The phenomenal beauty. Scorpios, harder to guess. And the reason why, some of them are very secretive and some of them are keep to themselves and they don't like their cards being shown. Other ones will show the cards and they'll worry about it. But the ones who aren't worried about it can look many different ways. If there's a look of suspicion in the Scorpio's eyes, there's a Scorpio signal. If it's a male, usually a lot of hair on the body. Very, very common. It's 20 till 8. She's an hour and 5 minutes before. Okay, I'm not going to be able to read these posts. I'll read them later. Now, Scorpios, very intense. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for intensity. Intensity. I love that blouse. Oh, I just hate those shoes. Black and white, real severe, real strong. That is a Scorpio trait. And throughout the body, I don't know. I know they rule the sexual organs, but I don't know much about that. I do know that if you are a Scorpio and you're going to get ill, that you're more likely to get ill in that area. But really, there's really not much more to a Scorpio in terms of their consistent look. They have a look of all different types.
That
Sagittarius.
Plutonian rulership can give them piercing eyes.
Uh-huh. I think so. Thank you, Rick. Yeah, piercing eyes is really a good thing. Sagittarius, this is really interesting one. Sagittarians almost always have an elongated face that is not parallel, and if it is parallel, it's Aquarius. Elongated face, kind of coming rounded. What's the guy that ran for president? John Kerry. John Kerry was a real good example of a Sagittarian face. If it's parallel and comes to a curve, that's the Aquarians. Okay. The Sagittarians are usually wide-hipped. Not always, but usually their hips are wider than the norm. And that's because they're ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter rules Shane.
Thighs. Hips and thighs.
Yeah, they're ruled by the big muscles, the hips and the thighs. Okay. Sagittarians, the most common thing is their face being elongated. They're usually very jolly, fun-loving, extroverted. Those are the things that you look for. Let's go on to Capricorn. Capricorn has a very classical look. A classical Robert Stack type of look. Faye Dunaway type of look. They look like they were carved into stone in Italy somewhere. A very classical look. Usually a serious look. And as they grow older, Capricorns are known to lighten up and lighten up and lighten up. They can have knobby knees, trouble with the knees are very common. I mean, the association in the zodiac between the knees and the Capricorn is just unbelievable. And I don't talk real loud about it because I is one and I don't have any knee problems and I don't want any. Now, usually as Capricorns age, they get younger. They just seem younger. Their sense of humor gets younger. Letting things roll off their back is a younger quality. Now, the Capricorn's unusual because so many things in the body are ruled by Capricorn. All the bones, all the joints, your knees, your teeth, all the hard parts are ruled by Capricorn. Thus, when you're having your Saturn returns, it's very common that this part of the bodies will perk up somehow. But the real thing the real thing hello? Hello?
You're echoing through Renate's
Oh,
sound.
sorry.
Okay, that's taken care of. Now, I don't know how else to put this. Capricorns have a classical look. Have a classical look. You'll have to look to just see it. Aquarians. I'm getting better and easier for me to guess Aquarians. Aquarians, women, beautiful legs. Betty Grable. Betty Gable.
Babel.
Grable. Betty Gable, beautiful legs. Those are Aquarian legs. Usually they're tall, taller than most people, the Aquarians. But the classic face is parallel. Very parallel until the end, and it rounds into completion here. I don't know much more about Aquarians and how they look. The way they will seem is they will seem a little distant, and they will seem very, very friendly, which they are, and they will seem very constant. But they're hard to predict, and there's always an area of them that's just untouchable. It's not like Pisces. You just can't touch it. And the Aquarians aren't doing it on purpose. They're just, they belong to a world, they belong to a world of great mentality. And that's where they spend most of their time, with a world of great mentality. And therefore, it's harder to grab onto them. Now, the final sign, boy, is this a tough one. I keep thinking of subjects that I think are going to be easier, and they're not. Pisces, wow, what a tough one. What a tough sign. Now, those people, you reach inside and ain't no one home. And of course they're there, but they're not there. They're there, but they're not there. And I can't explain it to you any better than that. They're there, but they're everywhere. That's why. They're too big. One of the reasons, I tell people this and said it in the book. One of the reasons it's so hard to be, Erica says, like a cloud, that's right. One of the reasons it's so hard to be a Pisces is because they're just too big. I'm not going to be able to read everybody's message, so you have to do your own there. They're just too big. And when you're big, there aren't any rules. You can be whatever you want to be. And other people come along and say, well, you can't be that. And the Pisces says, well, why can't I? Because the Pisces motto, remember, is nothing matters. Doesn't matter. What's the difference if I'm big or small? So it can be a very, very tough sign. Their part of the body is the feet. And usually when Pisces people do have physical problems, it'll reside in the feet somewhere. Also, it'll reside in liquid systems in the body, lymphatic, etc., etc. But those are the general rules. A lot of times I've noticed, oh, let me say this before I forgot. I got to go back and patch up. Cancer eyes. Cancer eyes. these swimmy, hypnotic kind of eyes. They're oftentimes really beautiful, but they're moony, ruled by the moon. They're swimming and it's like a little kaleidoscope. You'll see that many times with Cancer eyes. With Pisces, you'll often see that too, but it's more of a universal look. Okay, thoughts by anybody else on any of the signs? I've given you what I got, and maybe one or two things will pop up, but other things that you've seen, questions you have about other people in the zodiac, how you go about it. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention is this. One of the things I've done through the years is when I'm trying to guess somebody, I start with sometimes, is this person the first half or second half of the zodiac? Sometimes that really helps me because the first half is much more youthful. Second half is much more established. So sometimes I can help with things doing it that way. But it's a very dangerous habit to get into trying to do this because you're going to be wrong a lot of the time. And it makes you look bad. Okay, other questions, statements about people you know, how they look?
I have a story about a Libra
We got a Leo story about a Libra.
because I didn't think anything of it. This was this was like, I don't know, 7 years ago. And I really have learned a lot about Libras. We talk about this often because there's so much more to them. And they were probably one of the signs I used to have the most trouble with.
Hmm.
This girl I knew, she was going through a divorce. And I remember her coming into my office almost every day, and she was not upset necessarily about the divorce. She was a stunningly beautiful woman. Like she was stunned. She was a model. She was stunning. But she was upset that her soon to be ex-husband wasn't socializing with the other parents because they had a little girl. And I thought, what the hell does it matter that he's not socializing with the other parents? You're getting a divorce. Like,
Now it's
this
all
is all
about,
you want
it's all about how it looks.
to. Yes.
It's
And you know
all
what she
about
said?
how it looks.
What you said tonight kind of clicked even more. She was like, but I'm gonna one up him. I'm friends with all of them. And I thought it was like it doesn't matter her state of mind and her as a person. You bring in that competitiveness that she was gonna one up him about
And it's also
being
social one-upness, yes.
Yes.
Very true.
I didn't think anything about that, except I thought, you're going through a divorce. This is not.
If you were she and your mindset was all based upon how things look socially,
Yeah.
where does that leave you?
Yeah. No,
You
you're right.
have to give every sign their due. Every sign is doing what their impulses are pushing them to do.
Yeah.
And not all watching this show and trying to get broader. And may I ask you to remove your glasses? Let's look at Claudia's eyes.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know if you can see my,
Let me see
you
your
know
eyes.
what? These
Look,
are better. Hold on a second.
see?
No,
Oh,
take them off.
take your glasses.
I
Come
mean,
on.
no, it's
Come on.
Yeah,
Let's
beautiful
see. Open
eyes.
those eyes.
no,
You could be a
seriously.
glasses model.
See, she's got beautiful eyes.
You make all glasses look good.
Well, thank you.
Here
Thank you.
comes an Aries from down under. Let's see what she's got to say. Jane is
Jane, we haven't seen her in a while.
joining us from
There
down
she is.
under. Hello, Jane.
How
Hello.
are you? I noticed, Rick, that you were 8 p.m. in Pittsburgh. So it's now 10 p.m. here, 10 a.m. here.
I changed the show from 8 to 7.
But then
so,
also,
so
okay, so
I'm always on a
Oh.
7, but we do have daylight savings time.
okay, thank you. Hello.
Hello. We've been talking about the sun signs and how you can kind of guess who somebody is by looking at different facial features. Anybody have any thing to say about Virgo males? I'm wondering about that. Do the Virgo males that you know have a clear complexion? Yeah, Marcia.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, my husband is a Virgo
Yeah.
and he has a beautiful complexion.
Wow.
He also is bald on the top,
Yeah.
and the top part of his head is very shiny, very, very clear.
He's got a nice top of his head complexion.
And he's a guitarist. He's incredible with his
He knows
fingers.
a great
Wow.
guitars with his
And
fingers.
when he's doing gigs, when I go to see his gigs and the lights are there, his head is very shiny.
Way to go, Flip. I tell you what, he can play that thing too, boy.
That's funny.
Yes.
Oh, it's interesting to look around. Well, I'll tell you what you think about what I said about Taurus and Gemini.
You're muted.
You are muted. You are muted. You are still muted.
Maybe it'll
Ask to unmute.
If you just hit the bottom left on top of the, there you go.
There it is. Now you're unmuted.
It didn't do anything. Since they changed Zoom again, the last updates, everything is not
Yeah,
so good.
Zoom does, that's right. The question to you was, what did you think about what was said about Taurus and Gemini, since you got both of them in you?
Yeah, I think I always thought I'm a little bit more Gemini than Taurus, but since I get older, the stubborn Taurus comes more out, and the one who wants more just sit down and don't do anything and relax and don't run around any longer. And I want to have food, I'm into food. And now but with the Virgo rising, I have gut problems, and so I cannot go into that food I want any longer.
Well, that's
Yeah.
really intriguing, interesting for you to say those things. And yes, that's true. We forgot to align Taurus with food. They love to eat. You're hungry? Go to a Taurus's house.
Oh
They
yeah.
will feed you. It will be good stuff.
Mhm.
I can't see how close Sigmund looks to me like your complexion's very smooth.
You talk to me?
No, I'm talking to Sigmund.
Yeah, aside from a few things I picked up overseas and one time when I tripped and busted my nose, everything is really clear.
And Loretta, I forget your sign. You are muted.
My knee hurts.
What is your sign? I
Oh.
forget.
Capricorn?
Oh, yeah. Your knee hurts. Oh, boy.
Uh,
How long has that been around?
oh, on and off for like at least 20 years.
Wow.
I had to laugh about the descriptions. I worked with a Virgo woman for a long time, and when she was going through her divorce, she decided to record her husband because she wanted to tell me he's abusive. And so I got her a book on abuse, to read what to do. And then she played it for me, and I thought, wait, that sounds like me. He's just lecturing you. What's the big deal? And he's a Capricorn. I'm like, oh my goodness. He's all the things I would be saying to her. Because, I mean, when you work with someone for a long time, like 12, 14 years we worked together, ugh. I'm like, he sounds so much like me.
Well, it's a real tricky game to play, trying to guess people's sun signs. What do you think, Rick?
I wanted to mention that cancers can also have a very round face,
Yeah,
and they can be prone to put on water weight, especially in the latter part of life.
that's exactly right. I don't notice the round face as much unless there's Leo planets. But yeah, water weight is there. To me, the thing about cancers is they gotta look like they're worried. Maybe I'm worried when I'm looking at them. I don't know. I don't know, but it's a worried look is very common. I can't think of anything else for everybody to tip
Can
you.
I ask a question?
Sure.
This is a general question, not necessarily about the physique, the physical.
Right.
Do you all feel like your rising sign more than your sun sign, or vice versa?
Good question. Yeah, Jane.
I feel like I'm more Aquarian, which is my rising,
Mm-hmm.
than Aries, even though there's still that sort of sense of got to get things done. I just feel like I'm more in my head, plus my moon is Aquarius as well, which is possibly a little bit Cancerian with a round face. So there, it seems that
Yeah.
and I don't mind being by myself.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
those are all
And that's
strong Aquarian traits, yes.
yeah, yeah.
And that's our first impression that we make in the world with the ascendant.
Do you think so?
Well, when it's rising at the time of your birth, then you are making your breakthrough into the world.
Well, I don't know because I'm a double Capricorn, so I can't tell.
See, I'm a double Leo, so I hear where
Well,
you're
you
coming
can't
from.
tell either.
But
What's
she
your
just gave
rising?
us the separates.
What's your rising, Susan?
Aquarius.
Okay, well, see, Aquarius and Sag are so similar because they're both so free-spirited. They're both known for elongated faces. They're both free-spirited. That's a harder one to tell.
I think I identify more with my moon sign.
Mm-hmm.
Gemini,
Yeah.
I think you definitely identify with Sagittarius. That's my opinion. But Gemini would be very close. Remember, everybody, the clown show's on in 1 hour.
Oh,
Right.
Okay, don't miss the clown show in 1 hour. I'm gonna watch it like this.
What?
And what's your rising, Claudia?
Taurus.
Oh,
I will make you a meal. And we
oh,
will sit down and we will eat it and we will love it. And we
let's
will
all go to Georgia.
light candles. It's
Last train to Georgia.
Okay,
I
which
love-
sign? Which
I
sign is a very picky eater?
Which sign you think? Oh,
Virgo?
Virgo.
Virgo.
Virgo,
Oh yeah, he has a
Virgo,
Virgo.
definitely.
I don't like his green beans when they're facing west. Can we face north? Oh yeah,
I eat very simple stuff.
Is that
The
due to
more
is that-
the more down to earth and simple, the better. Nothing fancy.
Rick, is that point more driven around the Virgo's drive for efficiency? Is that kind of the point that kind of comes out, or is that connected?
everything's purity and perfection and get the job done exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is.
Probably the purest in them.
Oh yeah.
The purest part of
Hi,
them
everything
wants
okay?
simplicity.
Yeah, I
like,
mean
don't
they're
touch
really, really are.
don't touch the
Traffic.
potatoes with
I told you.
this other stuff.
Sorry.
Marcia, what's your rising sign?
You want to show your face?
Unmute.
I don't remember, Rick.
Well, let me pause and I'll go look it up.
My moon is Aquarius.
Hold on one moment. Okay, I heard that was really good. Marcia, you have Sag rising,
Oh,
Sagittarius, which makes sense to me. You come
Marcia,
across,
does that resonate with you? Do you feel that? Yeah.
Peggy, what's your rising sign?
Scorpio.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the Scorpio
got-
long face.
and you
Yeah.
got 4 planets in Leo, and I don't see the Leo
Is it 4 or
resign.
5? Well, the Leo part is the personality that comes out, not and my hips. I kind of got the Leo hips,
I don't know what
so
to say
you
to
can't see
people
that part.
I don't know what to say about rising signs. All these years I still can't figure out what it means.
Really? It's one of
Yeah.
the most fascinating things about
I
astrology.
know, and it's one of the things you hear a lot about, but
Yeah. It is.
I just don't see it as predominant.
Well, and it makes sense because you're a double Capricorn.
Yeah, and Marcia's got a
Yeah,
Capricorn twin
You are a
brother.
Capricorn.
That's right.
Yeah, either way.
I
Right.
don't know. What are you, Erica?
I'm a Libra rising.
Oh, Libra.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I
And
think
I'm
it's
married
fair.
to a Libran. And my first love was a Libran.
Well, you I think you come across a little bit more as a Libran than a Taurus.
I feel like an Aries though, because I have so much Mars and so much fire with the
Well,
Leo stellium and the Aries stellium. But
Mhm.
thank God I have those other things that smooth me out, or else I'd be in jail or something. I'm not
okay.
kidding either.
Since we've got some time left before the clown show, I thought I'd ask you, what would you like to see some shows about? What topics would you like to see? How play
eclipses.
eclipses?
Eclipses and also eclipses before your birth.
So
Oh, that's a
I'm
big
not an
one.
expert on that, but
I could do that one.
okay, Rick, you do that one.
I'll do the prenatal eclipses.
Yeah, that would be down your alley. I got a pen that isn't working. Eclipses.
I can write it in the chat and you can see it
I
later.
got it here. Eclipses, I've
Okay.
done shows on them before, but they're a long time ago. Now that this is show 382,
Fixed
I do
stars
need
would be
I do need to
interesting.
build an index so that you can get to the categories that are covered in the videos, which I will do someday.
I'd love one on fixed stars.
Well, you're
Fixed
talking
stars
to
in people's charts.
you're talking to the other Rick again. He does a fixed
Well, we can
star.
all learn.
I do more asteroids than fixed stars. It's been a long time since I looked at fixed stars.
Yeah,
Well,
but
we
you don't
can
need,
all learn together.
yeah, you don't have
That's
to
right.
cover-
I
you don't
would
have to
love
cover-
to I would love to hear more about careers and what astrological aspects might direct you towards a career.
That's a good one.
I look at obituaries a lot for that reason.
For what?
See what their careers were.
Hmm.
That's a neat idea.
That's a good idea.
It really fits. Really fits.
Wow.
Can you
All the Capricorns have the big long obituaries. People spend a lot of money on them and they accomplish so many things, you know.
can you talk about traits for mental illness and
Oh, I think that's a really good
is
idea.
that
I could
Okay.
certainly contribute with that one. I study that a lot.
Yeah, we can talk about that. It's not simple. It's not a consistent planetary pattern. Usually, with mental illness, it's somebody that's just really out of balance. And sometimes charts are out of balance and they can kind of rebalance in some way. Other charts are so out of balance, they just can't rebound from it. Like Robin Williams. Robin Williams' chart was
Yeah, yeah.
really out of whack. And I'm
Right.
amazed he went as long as he did.
You know, doing a character study on picking a person like Robin Williams might be an interesting
Yeah,
topic for a show.
Right.
Yeah.
that'd be very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would. Because he did commit video thing. It went through his whole life until he, gave it up.
Well, he was just under tremendous inner stress. One of the
He had
worst.
Lewy body syndrome too, so he was going to have a terrible death. And he didn't want to go there, I think.
He had what syndrome?
Lewy
Lewy
body.
body.
Oh,
Can you
Type of
remind me what that
dementia.
is? Can you remind me what that is?
It's
He
a
was-
type of dementia.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah, I remember now.
And you lose control of your,
Yeah. Yeah.
functions of your body and all this kind of
Right.
stuff. And he was always such a fast and funny guy,
Okay, we get the Robin Williams chart.
He was a Cancerian, right?
Yeah, but look at his chart. You'll see it right here.
He squared to Mars.
To Mars Uranus.
Yeah.
When you're dealing
Ooh, it's
with a
Neptune.
Cancer, always look at their moon.
Mhm.
Saturn in Virgo doesn't help.
wow.
Look at the midheaven.
I
Yeah.
see it.
Wow. That's a deep one.
He could be anybody. He could even play a woman.
He
But you
did.
can
Mrs.
see,
Doubtfire, right? He was the best
This
Mrs.
is
Doubtfire.
Doubtfire.
I see with that Mercury, Pluto in Leo, the court jester.
How about the fact that Marcia's sister was in that movie?
The court jester?
No, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, Mrs. Doubtfire. What
Yes.
part did she play?
She had a small bit part in the kitchen.
Oh,
Is that right, Marcia?
Tootsie, she says.
Yeah,
Let's see.
small. What's that?
She said Tootsie.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was Tootsie.
Tootsie.
Yeah,
But
That was a great movie.
it was Tootsie. That's right.
But wasn't that Dustin?
Dustin Hoffman.
That was Dustin.
No. Well,
Yes, I promise you.
yes,
His-
you're right.
his- for-
Okay, I got us all off track.
Was it Robin Williams?
Yeah,
Robin
she was
Williams
in
played an
Tootsie.
alien too.
What about talents?
Yes, you're right.
It goes with careers, but what signs and what aspects indicate certain kinds of talents? Like a person
Well,
could
it's-
be a good actress, but how do they be a great actor? or an
You
actress?
don't have to. You don't really look at aspects and something fixed. You're looking for flavors. Where does the flavor come in?
Mhm.
And you can have a, for instance, Peggy having 4 planets in Leo. She gets a strong Leo flavor, but maybe she's also got Leo rising, or maybe she's got a T-square to the sun. So you're not looking for specific things like turning a dial. You're looking for how it all adds up piece by piece by piece. You know, my brother had a Pisces sun, but he had 4 planets in Aries. So he was always working jobs where he was the leader. He was taking the lead. It's not because of the specific combination, it's the general taste of the chart.
So you could have a formula and that flavor could override the formula.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But I'm wondering, a person could want very badly to be, I don't know, a singer, but it's not in the stars. Why?
Yeah, but you see that, what does that mean? It's not in the stars.
That's what I'd like to know.
Well, I don't know how you, I don't know how you answer that.
Okay, so you have all these people who go on America's Got Talent or one of those shows with, and could you look at a bunch of contestants ahead of time and say, well, this one has the chart of a real gifted singer or a real gifted actor or acrobat?
I think you can do that somewhat, yes.
And I think
Can I
too,
do?
when
Sorry,
it comes to
you go.
singing,
Huh?
everybody has a Venus that's going to come through the throat, but not everybody has the other pieces of the puzzle that make a career.
Right.
It's,
Right.
Can I add that I started life as a singer, and I just didn't have the confidence in myself. So I'm saying that, Susan, because I think, well, yes, I would have loved to, but I just didn't have that absolute I have to do this.
what I like to
Even though
do-
I probably did, I just didn't have a lot of support around me as well. But that's not the point.
what I like
Some
to
people
do-
don't have. Sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say some people don't have support, but they're so determined. And I
Mhm.
just didn't
I
have that.
I look at it backwards. I look at the marvelous singers and look at what they've got and work that way, because that tells you, oh, no wonder they've got this phenomenal wit, this vocal wit about them. And no wonder they got the sound. When you talk about otherworldly, whether it's physical skills, vocal skills, mental skills, artistic skills, you got to have major trines to Neptune or Uranus. You got to. They've got to be there, or you're not getting it from anywhere. When you listen to a new Dylan song, where in the hell did he come up with that?
Yeah, but wouldn't a trine just make something easy? And
No,
don't
you're
people with
you
trines
don't
get lazy?
you're not realizing how powerful a trine is.
Oh,
When Neptune is trine to Venus, that Venus has a very receptive quality, and when it's receiving, which is prone to do with Neptune, it's prone to pick up tremendous otherworldly feelings, Frank Sinatra type voice.
okay.
When you hear people sing and they just melt you, that's coming from trines, usually to the outer planets. The inner planets are not strong enough.
They're the basic personality on the inner planets. The outer gives you more power that comes from the soul.
And Loretta says that she's got a friend who has Emmy nominated singer, right? And got Venus trying to Neptune.
He's a musician. He's a full-time musician, and
Okay.
he always wanted to be a musician. He's Grammy nominated.
When you're an astrologer and you don't hear the word funny, then something's wrong. The word funny is so common with somebody saying, boy, that's in the chart too. How'd they get it? Ella Fitzgerald. Well, we have to look her up, yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've realized is the people born in 1945 and 46 have Jupiter, Neptune, and Chiron all together. Varies because they're moving rather quickly, especially the 1946 people, the end of the war. People like John Prine, they have abilities to write song after song after song after song. That's just tremendous. McCartney, other ones that have it too. Who was the Who was the blonde hair guy that sang with Dylan all the time? Tom Petty had it. When these guys have it, you just have it. Your link is there. When you need it, it's there. And if you don't have that link there, Susan, you've got to go through all kind of different mechanisms to create it.
I know
So
that
then-
one of the things Susan is probably thinking about is having enough friction to create the drive.
Right. And like if I'm looking at my own chart, I have a grand trine. So, but what has it got me?
Well, and that's why the kite with an opposition makes it easier with the grand trine when you have one of them focusing through with that opposition.
The issue with Susan is this. It's not that the talent's not there. The talent is there. The talent is multiplied, even though it's going through a Venus Saturn. Saturn makes things stronger too. The difficulty with the chart is that the sun is opposite the moon in Gemini.
Okay.
The sun wants to go to Sag, the moon wants to go to Gemini. The moon says, okay, Gemini, the sun says Sagittarius. So they're going back and forth so much, you can't blame yourself, but when they're going back and forth so much, how do you harness it and whip it into shape? I don't know, it's not easy.
Sometimes
And that's why I would presuppose that as you paint, you get tired of this method, you want to try this one, and you get tired of that, you want to try this one, you want to try that one. That's what you are. You are an experimenter. You're an artistic experimenter.
I wanted to say, I find a lot of talented people are so talented, but they don't do what they need to do until they get a manager. A decent manager is sometimes what they need.
That's a very good answer, especially coming from a Virgo.
Right.
That's a very good answer. Yes.
That's part of the process sometimes.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. You know, I mean, I've watched Marcia's husband play guitar and just your mouth falls up and he's technically just pick a song out of the air. That only comes one way. Tremendous amount of practice.
Rick, I have a question to do with psychic people that are psychic, Susan. But do you think there is a particular star sign for that, or you just think it actually is that someone's open?
It's not a star sign, it is a Neptune placement.
Ah,
But there are others.
And yeah, well, there are others.
Uranian,
Rick would know.
Plutonian.
Uranian, Plutonian, but it's mainly Neptunian or Pluto.
Hey, come here. Come here.
thank you.
Somebody's being called, must be a cat. Yeah, usually it's Neptune or Pluto, but it can be from the sun sign. But if you're going to be really good, like these major readers, you've got to have a connection to the other side. Like our friend Greg Keene. Greg Keene is phenomenal. He's a Capricorn, but he's got a great amount of Pisces energy in this chart, and he's got the sun opposite Uranus. You got to have your inner planets connected somehow to the outer planets. It's not that big of a deal whether it's a square, a sextile, a trine. They're connected. That's why that book I keep showing you is called The Combination of Stellar Influences. That's the Bible of looking at these things.
That idea of the psychic gifts in the chart, I have about a list of filters of over 150 that have to do with different combinations.
Well, what 150 what?
They're different It is sometimes like the like Saturn conjoined Moon. That can give somebody the ability to
I see.
read crystals,
Right.
because you have the Moon's ability to intuit and the crystalline formation of the structure of Saturn.
That's exactly right. Yep.
It's how those combinations come. Mercury with Neptune, you can have incredible clairvoyant capacity with different messages. Mercury to Pluto can give you mediumistic qualities, because that's the psychopomp to the underworld, the messenger of the gods, connecting messages
Well, that
from
makes
the past.
tremendous sense, and therefore you find out, Susan, that you learn more by studying the people and working backward. You say,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, this guy's getting it from Mars, Neptune. This other guy's getting it from Saturn, Jupiter," because
Right.
then you start to stretch the archetypal natures of these planets. If you try it the other way, it's almost asking for frustration.
I think it does help, though, to have an astrologer look at somebody who wants to develop, because you can look at all their elements, and the elements are good to guide your meditation practice, because different modes work better for different elements. And I've been able to pinpoint gifts for psychics that they had no clue they had, because they were just learning what was in vogue.
That makes total sense to me. Yes, and like Peggy said, sometimes you just need a manager to help you corral all that and discipline it. Okay, well, let's bring the show to a halt. Really, really good evening. It sprung loose into many topics. I will take a look at these list of topics you gave me and rub my chin thusly. I want you all to have plenty of time to go get your popcorn ready for the clown show. It's in 30 minutes. And remember to go start out like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're showing it live in Australia too, Rick. Oh.
and it's only on one network here.
Well, if you can't stand to watch but want to listen, it's going to be on NPR.
Oh, no. You got to get the facial expression. You got
What network? What network?
It's on
Every network, every
CNN.
network is having it. It's even streaming on YouTube.
Okay, very good. I'll see you all next week. Thank you for a really
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Democracy.
Good
See you,
night, everybody.
everyone.
Bye.
Take care.